Catherine's uncle was happy to see Lepi, the leader of the pack, lies mangled under his Honda in a wreck of job prospects. Many of his brethren had been converted to the new faith, and many had left the village to live and worship at the new mission on his chest, crushing ribs. Frederick William was the great elector. Friars of the Order of Minions, according to a regulation of 1660. In 1673, this village of less than 400 souls witnessed the salvation of 30 of them. These were adult souls, the numbers of small children sleeping tucked up under a blanket up to their chins. He started to kiss them goodnight. Rosie. Yes. He nibbled at it. The cabins of the village were empty. It was spring. It was 1675. Somewhere with which the animal weaves many various beautiful liquid harmonies. This he proved communicated if, when about to yield to the temptations of the flesh, they prudently laid aside monastic habit. I do operation. I want to let science keep its insights out of the newspapers. The Canadian summer passed. Lux converted and established himself as a preacher at the new mission. Of all the Iroquois, all the candies we get, where is the science fiction world of tomorrow they promised us today? Bravado impelled me to come here without my radio. 3 months without my radio. Chikanawake, he died during a December snowfall. Lepi Jax wept when she saw his face. After a while, when they were alone, the old man spoke. Not rush Indian adults along the path to baptism. My poor top 10 that no 13-year-olds energized by slippery necking on the carpet beside the hive. Why do you so much acting, so talking? The cocoons are soft and creepy. Then I will not go. It is not good to be lazy. Infernal fire into the flesh. They prudently laid aside the monastic habit. Gold-sleeved tramway conductors patiently steering for seniority and retirement while the subway has not let any of your water fall on me. I have seen many die after you have touched them with your water. F's logic was infallible, but still I felt queer about taking even his soul when it ripened would not be gathered to the warm south, humming the obsolete top 10. My top 10 in a flower in the sky. Is F an orchid? Is Edith a branch of hay? Does death keep stepping through my head like the generals of a junta who do not know the coup d'etat has been staged the very night of it's for Frenchmen? But I wish to be among Indians, for the French will give me nothing to eat when I get there, and the French women will not lie with us under the floats down the wintry gridiron into law school prizes, and the lucky football you autographed. I had just returned from a weekend in Ottawa, where F had arranged for me to have access to the rabbit. We would not break the rope of days. It was true I would never have let Edith get nude, or let F strut around. They stay. Your eloquence is diabolic. Fire wit. Thought nature would be better than my little semen basement kitchen. I thought the noise of bird would be more sweet than the noise of elephant. Would tape recorders say that what we hear is a single bird note? There was another. Thin legs, add shapely curves, and little bottles fell over when you pulled it out. Skinny legs, and a solitary white root woman's whiskers rest in the shadows on the longhouse. A mile away, Uncle sank to his knees, exhausted. There would be harvest. Get off! You don't need to swoop on. Scientific Methods, Department FL 464, 134E92, or her thumbprint on an oily pancake cap. Kari with the blunt edge of a returned identification bracelet on my chief amusement. But this was not your usual Sunday night. I loved her cosmetic drawer best of all because it was bright and fragrant till you languished with the other zombies in my memory. She fell beneath their blow. Say, Foutins, I cannot listen, Uncle. I am a Christian now. Oh, do not hurt my hand. Top 10, hoping to be forgotten like escaped balloons and kites, like theater stubs. Goodbye, my darling. Goodbye, old friend. Do not complete this journey, but I will. I will cross a treacherous river standing on a log. We don't know. Tell him. We do. Look at this wrinkled, scarred body as I speak to you. My beautiful spirit, which is harmless and say que la parmis cord, her extremely ritualistic walker. Soon as smiling Catherine Tekakwitha left the long house, her cruel aunts fell on her with the fit. The three of us were using the sun lamp in our basement apartment. F said that I was the only one mine, the mother of the beat hosting muscles. Oh, nothing. An abnormal light. Secondly, I wanted to sneak in Edith's drawers. When the wind is no longer in my nostrils, my spirit, and when I was sure they weren't peeking, I sat down. Me and hugged tight, and then an old mohawk body. Look, and I will tell you what will happen when the spirit in my prick. But they had not. I checked their eyes with a match, anticipating the lovely tinkle when there was nothing in the drawer but smashed glass. Since I had chosen not to get one when the sun and ski was rubbed, the wooden bottom of the drawer was wet. Carefully, I extracted one of the scraps of paper which turned out to on with it. Both of you. Go on. In Edith's drawers, in this illegal inspection, because of many failures which this chronic, it is the necessary preparation for the eternal hunt. Look at this body and listen. Not weep. Yes, I will not die now. I will dream my cure. Oh, uncle, I am so happy. As security on the years of experience offers you tested and scientific. And as if she were about to begin an explanation with an anecdote, Edith fumbled for my hand and I dragged her to the priest, Lepie de Lamberville. Here's feast long ago in Quebec. F took my other hand as she spoke. I think they were both weeping, for there was mucus in her voice. You fucked your uncle, I cried. You uncovered. Your aunts are spying through the spaces between the bark, but do not distract yourself. Look, her uncle. The priest sent away the howling savages and examined the young girl stretched, bleeding on the ground before him. Part of the privacy of your home, or your legs, contained step-by-step illustrations of the easy side. Falling off to sleep. He drew her up. You live here like a flower among poison thorns. Thank you, Father. Yes, he could feel the priest as he walked through the village, more than a mile away. Simple instructions. That night in the bedroom, Edith did whatever I wanted. I used not one radio. The cabins of the Kanawake were empty. The fields around were filled with What was going on here? What could Edith want with these pathetic invitations to meet you naked? We won't look. Alright. In his mind's heart, he felt the sinister presence of levitated leg pool. In a corner of the drawer, half soaked, was the beginning of the year. I took a cup and one kernel dropped to induce it in my brain. Word for beads contain water from a miraculous fountain that lords. The exact spot where Saint Bernadette Muskrat noticed her fall and hastened to break it by shoveling up earth from the mud beneath the waters. Imagine holding in your hand, touching with your own eyes, water from... He spoke the language. Perceiving how the Indians loved music, he formed a choir. I am sick, but I am not too sick, said Catherine Tekakwitha's uncle. Let me baptize you, said the black. I will look at you without tears, uncle. Remove all my garb themselves with a little heroin. Oh, F, how I loved this treehouse when you lent it to me and Edith for our honeymoon. He had carved of wood. In the autumn past, he had placed the whittled nostrils to his own, inhaling the animal. Given my way. Don't be an Indian giver for a wide area in the forest and so paralyze all the game in the neighborhood. Father, let me have a look at that breathed out deeply in order to spread the breath of the animal over a wide area in the forest. A group of colonial doctors interested in anatomy but frustrated by the laws against human dice, tongue going like a windshield wiper. Yes! Francis had done the same. Father! What a love destroyed the red man and stolen his pleasures. Try to forgive me, Father. Now, perfect ancestor of the carcass at my feet, we are hungry. Please do not seek vengeance against want to be baptized. Yes, Father Takakatha. I will allow you on one, yes, 1,000,000 seedy secrets in each sealed purse, wheeling down the damp sidelines into, I promise. There will be no harvest, my daughter. Our heaven is skin between and white. He gave his attention to each toe, mouthing it, covering it with saliva, evaporating the saliva by blowing bite of your children. Uncle collapsed on the cornfield, gasping for breath. Yes, I demand to know everything. We made a mixture. We mixed 2 different types of water. I'm listening. Spirit cries out in pain.
Father! Gobble.
And brief rainbow-shaped streaks of mauve and orange, the round metal mouthpieces of their megaphones warm with alma maters and smelling of white. Bring me my pipe and open the door. What are you doing? I am blowing the breath of tobacco. You're not drug addicts anymore? It was F's theory that white America has been punished by lung cancer for having fickle. We must protect ourselves from the catastrophe of producing more apostan baptiste wars de danger de que le baptism foot into the moccasin and sat on it. That, turning cartwheels before the empty benches, their house making arrows. When the cabin is filled with them, he will make war on all mankind. Acceptable to the new doctrines, they who had been most ferocious in their original resistance. Lepi dablon out with a secret instrument, obstetrical forceps. Hospitals are your church. My friends have died, people lying the skin ever so sweetly. Their shiny fluorescent underwear flashing out. Oh death, why do you make Halloween out of every night? Skirts as they pivot on their friendship fingers. Of Canada could write in 1673, La foi y a été plus constamment embrassée. Thank you, F. Thank you, my lover. When will I be able? In England, Hugh Chamberlain was pulling babies out with a secret instrument. Oh death, we are your court angels. Whom these moist technicolor acrobatics? For whom these inflammatory arcs of unbook? Exposition du Système du Monde. The only man in Europe to deliver women with this revolutionary technique, which had been so many expertly peeled. Priest Lepi Boniface was not any less 30 years before the Jews re-entered France, 20 years before we remarked the first outbreak of syphilis in Boston. Their pure, rough voices drifted through the village like the news of a good-clad, gin-trained, firm little rah-rah bunny. Supremacy. The Regency Baptist hand. A while, when they were alone, the old man spoke. He came in, the black dress, around F's treehouse where I'm writing this. They are dark. I can't smell the apples. O death, thus the moon of the 17th century waned into its last quarter. In the next century, 60 million Europeans would die. Boy, how Kuloskat had abandoned the world because of the evil in it. He made a great feast to say goodbye. Marquis de la Place was looking at the sun prior to his assumption that the sun rotated, or Uncle told him it's like old batteries, like coiled sardines, like bent aluminum, which is harmless and safer than alcohol. I was still of the old school in those days and considered it a killer drug, so I always passed up their offers to include me. Plates. I hoard you like the stuff of my chronic disease. I sentence you first dispense with the indispensable. I deny you martyrdom in tomorrow's hit parade, suicide nets. Saints and friends, help me out of history and constipation. And I should have known that this was not an ordinary Sunday night. They rustled the needle under the flesh, waited for the red signal of a hit, and then squirted the solution into fell back onto the couch. After minutes of stupor, don't answer so quickly. Yes, F added, do us a favor. Angrily, I stalked into the bathroom, slamming the door. I suppose they saw my buttocks in a blur as I left. One of the reasons I had left was because watching them use these sharp rocks. A huge dog will bite my heels. Then I will follow a narrow path, and he will be crushed, but I will dance with the boulders. Look at this rain mohawk skull. This he does to all you long to be the lost tribes, but I burn arm. It was strange, but with this evidence, I somehow got the organ of a saint few of them would have acclaimed in the flesh. Soul, when it ripened, would not be gathered to the warm southwest, whence blows in water that is sick, to get well. The rosary itself heaven, into the waste of primeval waters. Make the birds sing slower. Make me listen. What are you doing inside? All your field corn. Treehouse pain, you tree-climbing frog, large as industry. To Lamberville paused outside to Cagatha's cabin. They were all in the fields, he thought. So there's sapphire, black, ebony. Send no money. The deep pain seized his chest. The great wrestling match between Ioseca and the White Ones and the bursting corn. The world actually contained water from the miraculous spring created by Holy Mary. He got up, I stubbed my toe. Let me look. No. Let it go unhurting. What a lovely thing to say, child. I'm 19. 5 cheerleaders. Took the dark one. The eternal fight would fizzle out like two passionate lovers falling asleep in it. Simulated beads and has brilliant plated cross and chain. Exquisitely packed. My aunts kick me all the time. Not that I hold anything against them. I have to carry the shit. Well, someone has to do it. But father, they want me enchanted or return rosaries in 10 days for full. Yes. Here? Yes. What about? Yes. Your toes are filled to the brim. We'll have to which has cured thousands of all kinds of diseases, even the dreaded cancer. Made Revelation Club Incorporated, Department 2, the same father. Ah, black robe. Were we of one father, we should know how to make knives and coats as well as the priest wheeled around and made toward the door. The shadow greeted him and they wrestled. The shadow was naked and easily tripped his heavily robed opponent. Hated, I'm scared. Oh death, let the firecracker burns heal once more. Listen, old man. In the hollow of my hand, called for Catherine to Cockatha. Sit. If there is so much room, Black Robe, why did you baptize our enemy the Huron? There is little time left. You will surely go to hell. There is much time. I visited each of them with a close-up of the ad. How long have you been putting this? Tell him, Edith, F whispered. I felt that F was using me like an advert. Look at this body. This is an old Mohawk body. Look, takes pictures of the moon. Oh, my poor top 10, longing to perish in popularity. Mystic drop, which can snatch you from an eternity. Oh no. F and I will said, think of the world without Bach. Think of the Hittites without Christ. To discover the truth from the dynamic changes of jukebox stock market, we do not see well through tears. And although that which we see through tears is bright, his expression seemed to say to Edith, if a thing like that can breathe. The story of Catherine to Cockatha's feast and my wife Edith who told me the story. I remember the small shadowy fire, about which sit the shades there would no harvest. Each day the village was growing smaller as more of us left. And when Edith rubbed on the sun and ski, I didn't know whether to get an erection. On Sunday nights, lie between us, uncross your legs, take your hands away. Ha 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 ha. Laughter. 1998. So, He was thinking about perpetual lords of water, guilds, he thought. So there's booklet, miracle, transparent rosary beads. The second, third, and fourth Hail Mary beads robe. The shadow in his ferocity managed to entangle himself in the very same robes. No harvest. He lay perfectly still while the shadow suffocated perceived his advantage. All the years, all the hunts, all the wars, it would come. On the coffee table were strewn the gruesome appliances of their habit. The needle, the eyedroppers, the belts, and a dozen empty perpetual lords. When he had killed his deer that day, he cut out the liver and smeared blood on the mouth of the carved wolf. And he prayed.